Most people think of gambling, neon lights, and quick money when they think of Las Vegas. There is, however, a place in that city that deals in something much more interesting than poker chips. If you've ever watched the History Channel, you know about it. Rick Harrison, who ran the gold and silver pawn shop, wasn't just a businessman at the center of it all. He made an empire out of old artifacts, bad deals, and strong impulses. Now the amount of money he's leaving behind has shocked his family. Some of you may know him as the calm guy on Porn Stars. Rick has worked hard and taken risks on his way to a $9 million net worth. A lot of people didn't see these moves coming. Let's play the tape again. Rick was a teenager when he worked for his dad, Richard Oldman Harrison, in a small used goods shop in 1981. The first store, which sold coins and other collectibles, was only 300 square feet and was stuck on Las Vegas Boulevard. Rick worked at the counter during the day. He took back cars at night. He paid his bills that way. He had bigger plans, though. It was his dream and his dad's dream to make their store into a real porn shop. What's the catch? Las Vegas law made it almost impossible to do that. You couldn't choose any time to open a porn shop. Since 1955, the city has linked the number of visitors to porn permits. As the city hit a certain size, a few more licenses would become available. Rick did something that most people wouldn't do. He began calling the city's statistician every week, waiting for the population to reach a certain level. The magic number was reached in 1989, and Rick pounced. They got a license to be a porn shop, and the gold and silver pawn shop opened just off the strip, in the middle of all the. After that, the numbers began to rise quickly. In 2005, Rick and his dad were giving out loans worth almost $3 million a year. Just the interest on that brought in about $700,000 a year. That was before everything went off. It turned into a store where bettors sold their Rolexes to get gas money, and sports fans bought and sold autographed items. Every day something strange, unique, or both would come in. But Rick didn't just want people to walk by. A PBS program and a short episode of Comedy Central's Insomniac both talked about the shop in the early 2000s. Rick saw what could happen. He began to promote a TV show. He talked about it for years on HBO, YouTube, and to anyone else who would listen. Until 2009, nothing stuck. The History Channel stepped in, and Porn Stars was born. It was easy to read. Real people come in with real things and hope to leave with cash. The structure wasn't what made it work, though. It was Rick. Rick became a huge star because of his sharp eye, dry sense of humor, and huge understanding of everything from old guns to Super Bowl rings. This is where things change. After a few seasons, most reality shows get old. Porn Stars didn't do it. It has had 633 episodes over 21 seasons as of June 2023. It doesn't happen often. That's making history. The History Channel even renews the show for another 80 episodes, which doesn't happen very often on TV. The shop became a tourist attraction, and at its busiest, over 4,000 people came every day. Rick's wealth grew at the same rate. Aside from the deals and laughs that were shown on TV, Rick was also making smart financial moves. He moved into real estate. He put money into the gold and silver markets. Rick was also ahead of the curve when inflation began to rise in the 2020s. You might have seen him on Fox Business warn about it. While other people were scared about prices going up and banks going bad, Rick was stacking metal. He makes a fuss about it. He says that the US government is making money like crazy, and people are buying gold and silver to keep their money safe. 147 are kept at Fort Knox. There are 3 million ounces of gold, but Rick isn't sure if it's all still there. He has asked for checks, pointed out holes in the supply chain, and talked about how governments in places like South Korea are holding on to gold and not letting it go on sale. Rick doesn't think it's cool to own gold, to stay alive, and that's not just an idea, so he can keep his $9 million fortune safe. But Rick Harrison has made more than just money. He's made a huge cultural machine that's much bigger than a Las Vegas porn counter. Fans call his son Corey Harrison Big Hoss. He didn't just walk into a business, it's where he grew up. Corey learned the trade by watching his dad polish silver in the back room and working his way up from there. He's now the manager of the gold and silver porn shop full-time, and a major player in the world of Porn Stars. Corey has become a business powerhouse. whether it's finishing big deals or quickly beating sellers' bids. And that's the real wealth that Rick comes from. Giving away more than money, they're giving away the game itself. Then there's Chumlee, Austin Russell, Corey's best friend from childhood and a porn star wild card. When the show first started, Chumlee was the silly sidekick who made jokes throughout the episodes. Now Rick goes to him for Pokemon cards, sneakers, old toys and pop culture items. He knows how much things are worth that you may not have known. That kind of information is more important than ever in the year 2025. In Season 2 of Porn Stars Do America, Chumlee finds a Pokemon card collector in Florida who has more than $1.2 million worth of cards. That's not a joke. In 2022, one card sold for $900,000 at auction. It's true that Rick doesn't get the attention, but Chumlee does. That's why the store now sells more than 1 million playing cards every year. You'll also see Rick and his crew look into a unique painting of Colonel Sanders in Kentucky. Rick paid $1,900 for that one, but the story was what mattered to him. Because this kind of pop culture items like old Coca-Cola, KFC, and even movie posters makes people feel nostalgic. It takes people back to a memory. Because it makes people feel something, everyday things become six-figure investments. Rick says it best. It's not about what you remember. It has to do with what a whole generation knows. That's where the real money is. Rick has also been spending a lot of money on old cars and porn stars. Do It America. He pays $54,000 for a 1971 Superb in Providence and $40,000 for a 1957 Ford Thunderbird in Ann Arbor. Rick knows that these things will go up in value if you know where to look and how to deal with people. Most crazy is that he does all of this while fans line up around the block. A lot of people come just to see the crew do what they do best, which is find value in the strangest places. This year it's not just the things that are getting attention. It's on Rick. During a stop in Kentucky, he was given the title of Kentucky Colonel, which comes straight from the governor of the state. It's not just about TV numbers that this honor means. It's about work character and being a leader. These are the qualities that made a used shop a worldwide chain. These three people made a porn shop into a big hit. When we talk about gold, Rick also knows how to spend it, but he always has a plan. In that one rare case, he paid more than twice the asking price for a letter from the author Henry Wadsworth Longfellow in the 1800s. The seller asked for $300. After being checked out, Rick made an offer of $700. Not because he was feeling bad, but because he knew the item was real and would be worth a lot more in the long run. That's what Rick believes. Spend more to make more in the long run. Strategy is what it is, not emotion. What does this mean for his family? It means they're getting more than just a shop or a name. They are getting a machine, a business that lends $3 million a year, a show that millions of people around the world watch, and a vault full of gold, silver, and rare items that is built to last through whatever comes next. Now for the part that really hurts. When Rick's dad died in 2018, the porn shop lost more than just a co-founder. It lost its core. Porn Stars had always used the old man Richard Harrison, the grumpy face of someone with dry wit, sharp senses, and decades of experience all in one. Having a used goods shop in 1981 was the start of the whole journey for him. He had made $5 million from the store and the hit show by the time he died. But now things start to change. Richard changed his will before he died. He made it very clear in that new version who would and would not get a piece of his heritage. Joanne, his wife, was left in the will. Yes, Rick did. He was the store's face and ran the business for decades. He also named his other boys, Joseph and Christopher, until they didn't. In the 2017 change, Richard took Christopher out of the whole thing. There were no shares, gifts, or anything else. He didn't try to hide it either. Even though he loved and cared about Christopher, the will made it clear that Christopher would not be inheriting anything. It's allowed to do that, and the news talked about how cold it looked. There is no one in the family who has ever said why it happened. The real reason is still a secret. One thing is certain though, Richard didn't want there to be any doubt about who should be in charge of the Harrison name. Rick was in charge. That alone is a lot of stress. Suits then came along. After Richard died, Rick's mother, Joanne Harrison, went to court to get control of the porn shop. She said that while she was Rick had her sign over her 51% share of the business while she was in the hospital in 2000. She says that when Richard died, she should have gotten the last 49% of the business, which would have given her full power. Her complaint, on the other hand, says that Rick didn't give her all the paperwork. She says that silver and $500,000 in cash have been lost without a trace. She wants money damages. She wants an inventory of Rick's assets, and for the judge to stop him from using anything related to the family business. That's where feelings get out of hand, because we're no longer talking about TV money. There are arguments over inheritance, claims, lost gold, and a son being sued by his mother over the family business. If you ever thought Rick had it easy, this is where that idea falls apart. In the meantime, Rick keeps going. Behind the scenes, the court drama is going on, but he keeps making big moves. He put his fancy Las Vegas home on the market for $3.99 million in 2019. It was a stronghold. 7 bathrooms, 4 bedrooms, a home theater with 12 seats, a wine cellar that holds 1,000 bottles, and a lagoon-style pool with a 10-foot waterfall, lazy river and spa. The house is almost 9,000 square feet. He spent $600,000 on repairs. The $45,000 price tag only covers the marble floors. Rick built it for his family, but it was too big for them as the kids got older. That's why he wrote it down and then closed the chapter. Rick doesn't just buy homes though. He also spends a lot of money on collectibles, which is something he knows a lot about. A rare set of original drawings, From Where the Wild Things Are, by Maurice Sack, caught his eye at a local art store in Las Vegas in 2025. It was one of the most amazing deals he had ever made. These were the real thing, ink-filled pages from a famous children's book that was never released. The owner put a price on the set of $375,000. Rick brought in his expert, who said the pieces were worth $310,000. Rick didn't move though. He tried hard to get $250,000, which he got. So it was one of the most important buys in porn stars' history. He knew that the deal was about price in the long run. They will still be worth what they are. They will like it. It's clear to Rick what that means for the fortune he's making. The question is now bigger. What's going to happen with this? Millions of dollars worth of property, valuable items, and rare metals when Rick leaves. That's where the tears come in. Because Rick isn't just making plans for a windfall that will be cash. It's the past. It's things that have stories. There is a lot of danger and knowledge in these deals. The next person in line is his son Corey. Corey has worked in the business since he was a child, either on the floor or filming the show and learning everything he can. It won't be easy to take over Rick's business though. There is stress in the family, a lawsuit from his grandma, and the emotional weight of taking over for a man who made pornography a worldwide phenomenon. A lot of people are affected, not just Corey. Rick's third wife, Amanda Palmer, whom he married in 2021, is his third wife. His ex-wife Kim is also there. That's a tricky family tree, and things tend to get messy when big money meets complicated relationships. Rick has left behind more than just a few porn shops on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's a whole banking system. There's money, gold, rare collectibles, real estate, show profits, and now a new media business. Rick has bought old coins, signed guitars, and a $250,000 piece of art. But in 2025, he gets a microphone, which could help him become even richer. There will be more than one Rick Harrison on the new show, and Chumlee is in too. It's called Porn After Dark, and it will be available to watch in early 2025. Take a look. Two of the most familiar porn stars' voices are pulling back the curtain to talk about deals, rare items, and crazy customers that happen behind the scenes, without cameras being there. There is already a buzz. Tracy Whitaker, who used to be the show's executive producer, is now on board. Mark Davis, owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, and Billy Gibbons, guitarist for ZZ Top, are reported to be guests. That podcast could make a lot of money by itself. Sponsors are getting ready. Networks that stream are watching, and Rick has full power over everything. But take a step back and think about the bigger question. What will happen when Rick leaves for good?
Do not start with the letters. Rick's net worth is thought to be $9 million right now. Among those is the $100,000 he makes each episode of Porn Stars, which has been on for 21 seasons and going. It's not just a TV hit, it's history. Networks don't usually order 80 shows at once. That happened because of Rick. He made a one-location porn shop famous across the country. It's not over with him either. Corey Harrison, also known as Big Hose, is his son, and is worth about $4 million. He has worked in the shop since he was a youth. As Rick moves into media, Corey has taken on more authority. Hey, even better, he wrote a book called License to Porn, about his life and how he worked in the family business. He's also bought some risky things, like a $38,000 boat, which keeps young people interested in the brand. Also there's Chumlee, played by Austin Russell. He may seem like a joke, but he's a real brand all by himself. The porn shop hired him when he was 21 years old, and now he makes $25,000 a show. He runs the candy shop Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard, which has its own fan base. He has a net worth of about $5 million, but Rick still thinks Corey is the best person to run the business, even after all that. Fans saw how that made things tense in a 2024 YouTube clip where Rick criticized Chumlee's handling of a rare coin deal. He said it was messy. Chumlee wanted to become a manager, but Rick made it clear that Corey is the one they trust. Leia is now in the rest of Rick's world. Among his expensive homes is the $3.99 million Summerland house with granite plank floors, a home theater with 12 seats, a 10-foot waterfall, and a lazy river. That's a lot of money that most porn dealers never see. Another thing he still gets money from is Porn Stars, which has led to spin-offs like Porn Stars Do America. Rick, Corey, and Chumlee hit the road to meet buyers all over the US in that show. It has given the franchise new life and kept the brand living outside of the Vegas store. This brings us back to the title. Rick Harrison leaves his family a lot of money, which makes them cry in different ways. Some are about being proud, some of them come from being hurt. That $9 million doesn't go away quietly when Rick's time is up or when his property is sold. A ready son, a co-star who wants more, and a mother who thinks she's owed half the business. Get it? It comes from a heritage that was carefully built by 3 generations, but there are still some holes that need to be fixed. That's why Rick's next steps are important. He is going into the media. He is putting his money into items that will go up in value, not down. While inflation shakes the economy, he is hanging on to hard assets. Not only does he teach his kids how to run the shop, but he also shows them how to make a career outside of it. Fans still want to know what he does next. Rick didn't just build a porn shop, he also made a plan for it. Every part of that plan will be important when it turns into a will. Things like the gold, the real estate, the cases, the podcast, and the family tree. A $3 loan for a used radio was the start of Rick Harrison's story. He's now worth a lot of money, and after everything is over, that luck could do 2 things: bring his family together or split them up.